guys, and welcome to this video tutorial where I'm going to show you how to master the raspberry stitch and also how to create smooth and neat edge stitches by creating a chain edge. So the raspberry stitch consists of multiples of 4 stitches that are being repeated on 4 rows, and in order to create chain edges on both sides of your work, we are always going to slip the first stitch knitwise and then purl the last stitch of every row. For this test piece, I have cast on 14 stitches and I have already made a few rows so you can see how the pattern is coming along. But we will start the knitting on the wrong side of the work, where we will knit the first row of the raspberry stitch. So we are going to start by slipping the first stitch knitwise, and then we can get on to knitting the stitch itself. So the first step is to knit 1, then purl 1, and after that we still knit 1 all into 1 stitch, and then you can pass it on to the right needle. And the second step is to purl 3 stitches together. And we will then keep on repeating these 2 steps until the end of the row, and then the last stitch will be purled. And then we simply purl the last stitch to make the chain edge. You can tighten it a little, and then we turn the work around onto the right side. Now, the right side of the pattern is much easier to knit, since we are going to purl all the stitches aside from the first one. So we start the row by slipping the first stitch knitwise, and then we purl all the stitches until the end of the row, including the last stitch as well. And then we will turn the work around onto the wrong side again, and we will now knit the third row of the raspberry stitch. So we will start the row by slipping the first stitch knitwise, as usual. And then we will knit the same steps that we did on the first row of the pattern, but we will just knit them in the opposite order. So we will start by purling 3 stitches together. And it can sometimes be a bit tricky to purl all the 3 stitches together with the thick yarn, but don't get discouraged, you will eventually get there. So then we will pass it on to the right needle, and then we will knit 1, purl 1, and then knit 1 into 1 stitch. And we will keep on repeating these steps until the end of the row, and then the last stitch will be purled. The fourth row of the pattern is exactly the same as the second row, as we are on the right side of the work. So we start by slipping the first stitch knitwise, and then we purl the rest of the stitches, including the last one. And voila! Here we have our raspberry stitch looking nice and squishy with the neat edge stitches as well. I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial, and you can find the Raspberry Dream Baby Blanket Kit on the shop, so make sure you grab one of your own, and happy knitting!